right now on Friends at 5. The governor issued a state of emergency for South Carolina, but there are no evacuation orders. Plus, multiple Midland school districts are dismissing early tomorrow in preparation for Hurricane Ian. We have the latest details.
And tropical storm watches and warnings have been issued for the South Carolina coastline as Ian is expected to start impacting us by Friday. But what does that mean for the Midlands? We'll talk about it in your forecast on Friends at 5, starting right now.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us for Friends at 5 on this Wednesday. I'm Darcy Strickland.
And I'm Andrea Mock. A lot is happening right now for our friends in Florida. Hurricane Ian has officially made landfall over an hour ago, and we are seeing incredible pictures of flooding, especially in Naples, Florida, and Fort Myers.
We had a live picture up of White Sands Beach Resort. We can see as the winds are whipping up there, we're going to see some impacts from Ian here in the Midlands. Our chief meteorologist, Efren Afonte, is standing by now with the latest on the storm.
Well, ladies, we got confirmation from the National Hurricane Center that Ian made a landfall in the area of Punta Gorda, Florida, in the area right around 145-mile-an-hour winds. They gusted at about 190. It brought in an incredible amount of storm surge that you're seeing right now on the left side of on the right side of your screen. The amount of rainfall that got pushed in from the storm surge was 12 to 18 feet. And when it made landfall, you could see where the eye is, and all of the rainfall that came up through the harbor is all the flooding that you see from all of the areas that were along that coastline, along and south of Fort Myers. Now, meanwhile, for us, what we have been watching.
Efren, thank you. Hurricane Ian flirted with Category 5 status as it made landfall on Florida's southwest coast this afternoon, but officials warn the entire state will feel the impact with torrential rain, catastrophic storm surges, and even tornado threats. Jason Allen is in Tampa with more.
Hurricane Ian has arrived on U.S. shores. A powerful, lumbering storm that's expected to batter millions in Florida. Hurricane hunters flying directly into Ian felt the storm's power, and satellite imagery shows lightning in the eye wall as Ian approached. Officials are warning of dangerous flooding and life-threatening storm surge.
Some places going to get 2 feet of rain. It's moving that slow.
Flooding began on these streets in Naples while Ian was still offshore, and downed power lines sparked this fire. Residents in the highest risk areas were warned. If they hadn't gotten out by this morning, it was too late.
I urge Floridians who have made the decision to shelter in place, to stay indoors, and stay off the roads.
But the curious came out to Tampa Bay earlier as water receded from the shoreline. It's been pushing water out of the bay. This is a swimming area usually, and right now you can walk on it.
It's like a one-in-a-lifetime thing.
These Michigan residents have never experienced a hurricane.
We'd see if we can get a good glimpse of anything while we're here.
But there is serious business ahead as Ian bears down. FEMA has hundreds of boots on the ground and has pre-positioned food and water supplies. Florida's governor is already forecasting a long recovery.
This is not just a 48-hour ordeal. This is going to be something that is going to be there for days and weeks and months.
Ian is expected to move across central Florida and exit Daytona Beach sometime tomorrow. Jason Allen, CBS News, Tampa.
The Red Cross has deployed 2,500 responders who are ready once Ian passes to assist residents with food, shelter, and emergency supplies.
Yeah, very scary right now. In fact, Naples police just said there was a stay-in-place order for everybody in that city. They don't even want you going out. So what orders do we have in place? We know that there has been a press conference from the governor just about an hour ago. JR, what do we know?
Well, as you mentioned, about an hour or so ago, we heard from Governor McMaster, who declared a state of emergency ahead of the storm's impact here. That order allows mutual aid agreements between state agencies to go into effect in order to help with the preparation before the storm. Now, the governor says he's not closing any state offices, nor is he going to order any schools to close. He says those decisions on schools can be left up to individual school districts. And one other thing here, the governor is not ordering any evacuations along the coast. He was asked why he made that decision today. Take a listen.
It's not necessary based on all the information we have. It is an expert opinion and common sense opinion as well that it is not necessary to evacuate. An evacuation entails a lot of disruption, and it's not necessary with this storm. It has been necessary with others. This one doesn't have the wind speed that some others have had, but it's got more wind speed than some have had. And again, they hit different parts of the state. But we think that the analysis that we have made with the National Weather Service and also watching what's happening in Florida indicates this is not a situation where we need to have evacuations, and therefore I will not order one.
And ladies, the governor continues to say the state has a good plan in place here to deal with the storm as they prepare for the worst and they hope for the best.
JR, not surprised today that the governor didn't issue the evacuation order for anybody on the coast, but you and I were just talking about that latest model that Daniel put out earlier today, showing it making landfall around Myrtle Beach.
That's not an official forecast track. That's an in-house model that Daniel Bonds tweeted out earlier today. That in-house model shows it skirting the coast of South Carolina from Charleston and going inland somewhere around Myrtle Beach. Again, not the official path of the storm. The National Hurricane Center right now has it going south of Charleston, meaning Charleston could see several inches of rain. At first we were thinking, okay, it might be 5-6 inches of rain, but now we're being told it could be upwards to 8, 9, maybe even perhaps more rain in that Charleston area. Got to keep an eye on what's happening down there.
And we know it does not take much for flooding to occur in the Low Country.
Indeed.
JR, thank you.
All right, today the American Red Cross of South Carolina put together emergency kits for those who are in need, whether that be people here in our state or those in areas like Florida and eventually Georgia. Some items in that kit, of course, water, medicine to last you at least a week, and emergency food supplies.
Right now, our primary focus is on mass care and preparing to open any shelters if needed or requested. We're also working very closely with our partners in Florida and in Georgia on resources and understanding logistics operations as well. We have set up a disaster operations headquarters on Two Knots Road. We initiated that setup this morning. We're working very closely with our partners, with the state and our local emergency management partners to ensure our communities and our citizens are prepared and ready.
All right, and for those making their own emergency kit, extra cash, a battery-powered radio, and flashlights are also good to have. A crank, solar-powered phone charger, also something important to think of in your supply kit, since there's no telling how long someone could be without power.
Orangeburg County Emergency Services is preparing for the effects of Ian in South Carolina.
We're working on all of our contingency plans, of course, for if we get impacted by an event or by the storm.
The agency is working on response plans to make sure staff is in place. They plan to bring in additional staff at its Emergency Operations Center to support call volume for downed trees and flooding issues. They are also working on a post-impact shelter plan in case there is damage and people need a place to stay.
To be safe and be alert for the wind changes. So if the wind gets up, be prepared for that and just have a good plan of what you need to sustain yourself at home. And if you can't stay home, of where you're going to go in advance.
The department is monitoring the forecast to stay one step ahead of where potential power outages will be. Forecasters say heavy rains are the biggest threat for the region. Orangeburg County Public Works has been clearing the roads, making sure drainage can flow.
Our biggest threat during this entire event right now is going to be the rainfall. That's the biggest hazard. So everybody just needs to be careful when they're out moving around on Friday.
People are urged to contact the Orangeburg County Emergency Operations Center with any questions about their own personal preparation plans. For Street Squad Orangeburg, Nigel Hood, News 19 WLTX.
Well, because of Ian, different schools across the Midlands will dismiss students early tomorrow. Those early dismissal times can be seen on your screen. Elementary students in Sumter will be released at 11 tomorrow morning. Middle school students at 11:30 and high school students at 12:30. All after-school activities have been canceled, and students will participate in virtual learning on Friday.
All right, let's take a look in Clarendon County now, where students there will be dismissed between 11 a.m. and noon. The exact times here on your screen, you can see they vary by school. Clarendon students will also have an e-learning day on Friday. Let's go over to Calhoun now. Sandy Run St. Matthew's schools will dismiss at 12:15. Calhoun High School will dismiss at 12:30. Friday again will be an e-learning day as well.
In Richland 1, A.C. Moore and Rosewood Elementary Schools will be dismissed at 11 in the morning. Olympia Learning Center will be released at noon. The evening high school program is canceled, and Hand Middle School will be dismissed at 12:30. And finally, over in Orangeburg County, elementary schools will dismiss at 11:30 tomorrow morning, except for Dover Elementary, which will dismiss at 12:30. Middle schools, K through 12 schools, and middle high schools will also dismiss at 12:30. High schools will be released at 1, except for OW, which will leave out at 1:30. Friday in Orangeburg County is an e-learning day.
Well, there is no early dismissal right now for Kershaw County. Lexington 1, Lexington 2, Lexington 3, Lexington 4, Lexrich 5, Richland 2, Fairfield, Lee County, but Friday will be an e-learning day for all of those schools. Saluda will be closed Friday. Now, if you miss any of this, I know that was a lot of information we threw at you. You got to check out WLTX.com. We have all of this clearly listed. All right, let's take a break from talking about the hurricane for just a moment and get to some good news. It is Wednesday, and that means we celebrate a hometown hero. So in case you didn't wake up this morning early with myself and Whitney Sullivan, then we won't take it personally, but we will now introduce you to Miss Ideal Bloom, who was nominated by Valerie Sanders. Congratulations, Miss Bloom. Sanders says Bloom is a bus driver in Richland 1 at Lower Richland Bus Lot, and she says she always encourages all of her kids on the bus, and she is sweet and kind and gets them started their day on the right foot. Sanders says that she's like a second mom or a grandmom to all those little babies on her bus. So Miss Bloom, we certainly appreciate all you do to make smiles on the faces of kids in the Midlands. And you have won yourself a $100 gift card to Hardee's. Now, if you know somebody as fabulous as Miss Bloom who's doing good things in your neighborhood, tell us about them. Go to WLTX.com/hometown heroes and nominate your hero today. Then make sure you watch News 19 this morning. And then if you sleep late, you can watch Friends at 5 and find out who our hometown hero is every Wednesday.
It's no secret that getting up and moving is an important part of staying healthy, but it may take more than just heading to the gym to really make a difference.
Could who you are determine the best time to exercise? Let's connect the dots. Getting up and going any time of day is always a good idea, but a new study looked to see if your gender and the time of day made an impact on your workout. Researchers say everybody showed health benefits, but women burned more fat when they worked out in the morning, with a lot of that fat coming from the abdomen. They also lowered their blood pressure a lot more. Meanwhile, the women working out in the evening showed more strength gains, especially in the upper body. When it came to men working out later in the day showed more health benefits. The evening exercisers significantly lowered cholesterol levels and burned more fat. For men looking to gain strength, any time of day helped them to put on muscle. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Okay, I was listening to find out about when I work out, because I work out in the dead center of the day, and they told me nothing.
They want you to work out in the morning. As soon as you're done with News 19 this morning, they want you to hit the treadmill.
That is not happening.
Okay, well, there you have it. What is happening is that we are keeping a very close eye on Ian as it makes its way through Florida and is now looking like it's headed for South Carolina. There's a tropical storm watch in effect for Richland County. Chief Meteorologist Efren Infante is going to have a closer look at what that means after the break.
All right, Efren, thank you for the update. More than 13 million households in the United States are what's called food insecure. That's according to the Department of Agriculture. But today, President Biden laid out his multi-billion-dollar plan to end hunger over the next 8 years, calling for a whole of government and a whole of society approach. So at the first White House conference on hunger in more than 50 years, President Biden announced an $8 billion investment aimed at ending food insecurity by 2030. The president says the funding comes from more than 100 private businesses and organizations with the added goals of promoting better nutrition and exercise. The president has also proposed changes to federal food programs like SNAP and expanding access to free meals in our schools, but those would require action from Congress.
It always disturbs me when I think about people being hungry in the richest nation
in America,
in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, how can we have so much?
Especially children.
And there are
So
people who go
donate
to
to
bed
Harvest Hope when you can.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. There's more Friends coming up after the break.
All right, so much is going to be happening over the next 48 hours. Make sure you tune into WLTX.com, our website. Make sure you sign up for text alerts. Follow our meteorologist on Twitter.
And have your free News 19 mobile app downloaded. If your power goes out, you don't want to be disconnected. You want to know what's happening in the world, and you can do that by looking at your app.
All right, that is all the time we have for Friends at 5. Don't go anywhere. We will have another update with Hurricane Ian and Efren Afante right after this.
Thank you for watching News 19. Did you see a story you loved? Download WLTX on your Roku or Amazon Fire device and watch it again right now.